Hey guys, so today we're looking at basically last week's work where we graphed out the sine function, okay? And you guys did a big table of values and graphed it grid by grid by grid. Today we're going to look at more some of the specifics of the sine function, okay? So here, by the way, where this is getting to is we are going to be working on transformations of the sine function this week, but we really need to know this first before we can move to that. Sine function starts at 0, 0. At 90, it is up at a height of 1. At 180, it's back to 0. At 270, it's down to -1. And at 360, it's back to 0. Now, in green here, I've showed basically that the sine function will continue forever, okay? The blue function just kind of captures one cycle, or it's one cycle of the sine function. Also, the sine function, it would go backwards as well if I could continue it backwards. So it's just this big wave that goes on and on and on and on forever. Okay, so the cycle is this actual shape here: up, down, up. That is one cycle, the blue right there. Okay, the period of the cycle, the period of the sine function, is how long it takes to complete one cycle. So in the sine function, it's 0 to 360 degrees, and then it will repeat itself from 360 to 720 and so on and so forth. Okay, so the period of the sine function is 360 degrees. Okay, the amplitude. Well, the amplitude measures, as we took last week, the amplitude measures from our baseline. I'm going to call that the baseline. It's the middle line. It's the line that splits the two, the lowest height and the max height. So the amplitude here is how far from the baseline to the very highest point, or the baseline to the very minimum point. And in this case, our amplitude is equal to 1, because it goes 1 up and 1 down. So our amplitude is 1. The domain. Let's go back to domain and range. So the domain is the x values. Okay, so the domain x is contained in the real number system. There are no restrictions. This is going to go all the way left and all the way right. So there's no restrictions here. And our range is talking about our y values contained in the real number system, such that, well, we do have restrictions here. And our restrictions are, it's always going to be above -1. So -1 is my low end and +1 is my high end. So it's between -1 and +1, like that. So that's the domain and range, the amplitude and the period of the sine function. What we're getting into in the next video is when we look at transformations, what happens to all of these things down here.